Does anybody have the Billy FF14 China producer stream? We can wreck. He talked about 2 minutes meta. That guy cleared 4 ultimates, man. And that guy cleared 4 ultimates without being carried. He formed static that never clear ultimate. Pro. I really want to meet him. He's a very nice guy. That guy is a Giga Chat. I'm gonna meet him in Japan. Yeah, this is the video. Before we proceed with more of the video, I want to give a big shout out to ExitLag. You guys know that I use ExitLag a lot, right? From playing Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft in MMORPG to FPS games like Call of Duty, right? Not only it reduces my ping so that I can play in any region from JP, EU, and NA, I'm also able to reduce my packet loss. So even if you got good connection, getting a VPN is gonna get you more consistent connection. Now, obviously, I'm not going to spend so much time talking about the setup. You guys can go to the channel description below. I will link you the setup guide that I had in YouTube. But most importantly, I want to talk about the Black Friday promotion, okay? This specific month, specifically, you get a special promotion. As you can see here, you get a special promotion that you buy 12 months and get 3 months for free. Now, obviously, there's also other deals like you buy 2 months and get 1 month. But at the moment, this is the biggest deal. You guys should definitely check it out. And also, you can also check it out to see if you are new to VPN, how a VPN can help you. So without further ado, let's get back to the video. But thank you so much for ExitLag for sponsoring this YouTube video. This guy is the producer of China, Final Fantasy 14. This guy is the Yoshi P in Final Fantasy in China. Okay, I actually don't remember this part. He's talking about culture in Japan. People always like to use like the Japan ramen industry as like a example. So they were saying like, you know, in Japan, right, in the ramen industry, right, those people that open ramen store, they always like to show you how they make the ramen. And then when you go and eat in the ramen store, it's usually just a few flavors. It's not like there's a lot of ramen. At the end of the day, it's just fucking ramen, right? It's just ramen in different soup base. But they spend so much time emphasizing the craftsmanship of making the ramen. So to them, this is what they think is what appeals in their market. Emphasizing craftsmanship. It's like in Japan society, something that they really focus on. He says that Yoshi P actually is already not like that, not old-fashioned like that already. You know? Yoshi P is more open-minded. The way Yoshi P go around like developing Final Fantasy 14 is very different from, say, for example, some Chinese developers. When they make games in China, sometimes they look at other games and then they'll be like, oh wow, this feature in this game is really good. Oh my god, this thing that they have in this game is really good. They just steal that idea and they put it in their game. So they themselves don't have like any vision how the game is gonna be. They just look at other games, this is good, that is good. They just take it and they implement it in their game. Whereas like for Final Fantasy 14 and for like Yoshi P, right, all these things that they put out in Final Fantasy 14 are things that they plan. They themselves do it, but they themselves also plan like very ahead. It's not like tomorrow you see World of Warcraft have it, we steal it, we put it in the next patch. No, right? Like Final Fantasy 14, the next patch is already being done maybe a year ago, you know? Honestly, I don't think that's necessarily mean it's a good thing. That can also mean a bad thing, because this means that the thing you put out 1 year later could already be outdated. Okay, he was saying that it's not just us. Recently in the NA or in the Western community, we are like booming the game, right? A lot of people is like saying that Final Fantasy 14 is done, washed up, same old, not good. Walker is the worst expansion, blah blah blah, right? Even in China, they feel the same. China is 1 patch behind us, and even China, it feels the same. The player base feels the same. The player base also feel like the game is getting stagnant. The 2 minutes meta is boring. The game quality is still good. The quantity is still there, but it's not fresh anymore. You know, it's not like when Deep Dungeon first came out. It's not like when Ultimate first came out. Yes, it's good that they continue doing a good job at it, but it's becoming stale. They were like saying, now if you think back, a lot of people have a lot of criticism about Walker, but honestly speaking, it's not over-exaggerated to the point that the game is really bad. Because let's be honest, there are still hope that things can get better in 7.0. It's not as bad as what people think. It's not because he's the producer of 14 in China that he's trying to downplay it, gaslighting you guys to think that the game is good just because he's the producer of the game, you know? And he himself as a producer, he himself also have numbers that he can refer to. He has statistics. It's not like people don't log in. Although people log in lesser, it's not like the game is dead. There's like, you know, people are actually still logging in to play the game. Just, you know, maybe lesser, but you know, it's still a healthy amount. He told this to Yoshi P. When both of them look at the numbers, they were like, okay, you know, people are still logging in, but it's not like before, but it's not like this game is dying. So then Yoshi P look at the number and say, Yoshi P understand that. That's why Yoshi P in 6.0 made a lot of solo content. Also do a lot of lesser man content. And then Yoshi P says that in 7.0, they will make more content for more people. As in like, not just solo play or not just 4-man play. They will actually make more content for like more large scale. So he's like, okay, let's put a scenario. I cannot say that I don't believe him, because if he says that he don't believe Yoshi P, then there's no more conversation. That means the trust is already gone. If we were to sit here and say Yoshi P is lying, then that's the end of the conversation. You can't just dismiss him there, even though he says that, you know, he understands that 6.0, he put in more solo content, he put in more low-man content, but 7.0, they are looking into putting more large-scale content. He's like, okay, I know that some of you guys may not trust Yoshi P anymore, some of you guys might not believe what he says that is coming in 7.0 anymore, but as a producer of Final Fantasy XIV China, even though my credibility probably don't mean shit, but give me some credit, be on my side, try to believe Yoshi P for once. There's still a Tokyo Fan Fest, you know, don't lose hope on Yoshi P yet. So the previous producer, which is his boss right now, when the previous producer was a producer in 3.0, he actually foresee that some of these things can happen already. But because he himself as the producer then, he saw how fucked up 3.0 was. The other day when Zeno was watching the video about Heavensward versus Endwalker, during that time, I didn't know that Heavensward was that bad. When I first started streaming, I was in JP. And for you guys that been watching me since day one, right? JP wasn't dead at all. I remember I was able to park, leaving Liquid 18 hours a day. I was doing leaving Liquid 18 hours a day for 7 days straight. I really wanted that week clear because I was streaming it. I was streaming 18 hours a day. It never occurred to me that Heavensward was dying. So then when Zeno and the guy in the video where I was talking about how bad Heavensward in NA, right? And I was asking Zeno, is it really that bad back then in NA? And then Zeno is like, yo, you should have played in NA, man. It was a graveyard. I'm like, really that bad? I didn't know that game was that bad back then. Because in JP, it never occurred like that. So now, understanding the NA context in 3.0, and then now listening to him and the previous producer before him, talking about how 3.0 was so fucking bad and they survived. The previous producer says that if the game can survive 3.0, it doesn't matter in the future whether this game becomes stagnant or not, that this game will be fine. So then he's saying that, you know, the previous producer saw this coming already, you know. The China community is like saying, right, you know, you guys, the staff, the producer of Final Fantasy XIV in China, it's not like you guys develop much things. The game is being developed in Japan. It's not like you guys develop the fight. It's like you guys do nothing. You know, sometimes the community is like saying that you guys do nothing. And then they were like, it's not like we do nothing. We also do stuff like we talk to the developers over there. We show them the numbers that we have. Like compared to Korea. Korea do not have much production in their team compared to them. They were saying, like if you compare the numbers, you will see that, you know, the amount of effort that China put in versus Korea is heaven and earth. Is a lot. And also they spend so much time prepping for FanFest and stuff, you know, feedback. He's talking about 2 minutes meta now. So when he first played the game, right, before 2 minutes meta came out, he was saying that he himself don't even know what a burst window is. He himself didn't even know that there is such thing as aligning all your buffs. It would make sense because he played a samurai. He played a samurai in Storm's Blood. In 4.0, honestly speaking, samurai, you just do your own thing, right? I don't think samurai have any red buffs. I don't think samurai needs to, okay, yeah, you save gauge, you put more Shinten in the trip window, I guess. I don't think samurai, you can align everything, right, in 4.0, right? So that's why, you know, he didn't even know about aligning buffs. He didn't even know about burst windows back then. Before the 2 minutes meta came out, he has been playing the game the whole time, just pressing his own button. Only after the 2 minutes meta came out, then he realized that everybody is aligning buff. Then he knows that there's a burst window. When he plays samurai, he didn't know what that means. When people was telling him, oh, you are just doing the samurai thing, you are just doing your own thing. You know, you're doing what samurai does. Actually, this is true, by the way. If you guys also watched the recent interview when Yoshi P went to Brazil, you guys will see the similarity with the things that he's about to say and what Yoshi P says. When Yoshi P announced 2 minutes beta, everybody was like very happy. Everybody's like, yay, you know, everything is simplified, everything is aligned, you know. That was the time where everybody actually was very happy. And then recently, people start to wonder, if people really don't like the 2 minutes meta, why don't you just don't do 2 minutes meta? Why don't you just make all 20, 21 jobs unique, individually fun? You don't have to worry about, you know, on the second minute, this buff has to go off. Why don't you just make rotation fun? And then your DPS is just that fixed figure. It's easier to balance the fight. And then the job has its own identity. The job is fun by itself. You don't need to worry about, you know, bringing red buffs. Why don't they just make jobs like that, you know? He thinks that this type of discussion is quite interesting. Rather than like saying that you should take it away, why don't you come up with, say, suggestion? Why don't you say come up with another way to play, you know? But That being said, for example, whether you keep 2 minutes or whether you change the way job play uniquely, but it's more individual rather than dependency and rate buffs, alignment and stuff, whatever it is still better than going back to 90, 180. He thinks that the times of 90, 180 is no. Like he would rather 60 or 120. He doesn't want 90 and 180 anymore, for example. I mean, I agree. Dude, 90 seconds are the worst. If you play a warrior back then, 90 seconds are the worst. Now, I'm not sure whether you guys remember this. When Trick Attack was still a party buff, Reaper and Red Mage was fun. In fact, more jobs were fun when Trick Attack was still a 1 minute buff. As a Reaper, right, I would hold an Enshroud for Trick Attack. As a Red Mage, I will hold melee combo. When Trick Attack was a 1 minute buff, I think that it was more fun. Actually, to be honest with you, I never understood why they needed to make Mark the new trick. From that point on, because I was a main Reaper and a main Red Mage, right? From that point on, I was like, bro, playing Reaper and Red Mage is not the same anymore. And I can only imagine tanks probably miss Trick a lot. But overall, you know, he still thinks that 60 and 120 is better than going back to 90 and 180. He thinks that if you guys think that 120 is bad, and if you guys think that going back to 90 and 180 is a solution, it's not a solution. There's no point going back. He thinks that uniquely make all jobs fun to play in its own way without dependency is better for the game. If you want to remove 2 minutes. TLDR, if you need 10k DPS to clear the fight, it doesn't matter how you get that 10k. Whether you are 2 minute bursting or whether there's no 2 minute burst, but every individual job is balanced to the point that their uniqueness take care of their individual DPS, he would rather that. He thinks that on the topic of job balance, he thinks honestly this is a people's problem. Balancing the game, right, is a world level problem. It's like basically what it means is like it's more of a preference. It's more of how the player play the game. It's more of how the community perceive the game should be played. It's not just balance. It's not just this job, this game, this fight, this comp should do this number. They balance it this way, but at the end of the day, how the balance is perceived, it's the people. A lot of players say, right, they wish that their job, the system of your whole job, you want the job to be fun, you want the job to be balanced, and you want the job to be in depth. You want to fulfill all these 3 points so that everybody is happy. It's impossible. Now, he say this as a player. He's not saying this as a producer. He's saying this as a player himself. If you want to make all 21 job fun, in depth, and balanced, it is impossible. Homogenization is actually the better solution. And honestly, if you go and compare to the other game balance, and this is true actually, he says that if you compare Final Fantasy balance to other games, Final Fantasy XIV actually did pretty well. Now, that is true. Have you guys played World of Warcraft? World of Warcraft is never balanced, man. Every week, you are playing a different job. Every week, you need to change talent. Every week, you need to find what's good for your class. Every week, a specific class is preferred over the other. Every week, WoW logs show different information on which is the better Mythic Plus and raiding classes. So he's comparing League of Legends. If you want the entire roster of League of Legends to be balanced, it's impossible. In fact, right, even if he's being generous, if you want 50% of the roster to be balanced that they will be picked, it's already impossible. Like, it's safe for Overwatch. It's the same for Overwatch. It's the same for Rainbow Six. I mean, fuck, it's the same for FPS game when you choose guns. If you play Modern Warfare, even though Modern Warfare got 100 guns, how many of those guns are actually used? 10. All the meta sweaters are going to use the same SMG. They're going to use the same sniper rifle. They're going to use the same AR. When you play Dota, when you play League of Legends, the same as big as the roster is. Not because the other class are shit. It's because you want to try to achieve the 3 points he say, right? Balance, fun, and in-depth is impossible. So like to him, right? When he played those other games, right? Like MOBA game, right? You know, when they have patch notes say, this hero get this much potency buff, that hero get that balance. When he played those games, right, even though they balance it, he never really feel it. Or maybe because his level is not that high. Maybe his MMR is not that high. He never play at that level. So he never really feel the balance. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, he can. When Final Fantasy XIV balance all the job or keep all the job as close as possible, he actually can feel it. He thinks that without Kaiten, he definitely felt it. Dude, why the fuck do you guys keep talking about Kaiten? Does Kaiten really make Samurai stronger? He thinks that as a Samurai without Kaiten, he felt it. Yes! Kaiten is a lot of fun comparatively. Kaiten makes the job fun. It's just cool. Meter management, What meter management? If you cannot have 25 meter before you kite, then you are just dog shit. It's not because you cannot manage it, you are just shit, man. Okay, this part I agree with him. You know, he was saying that just like when he was talking comparatively, when he was talking about in Dota and in League, when they improve potency and when he played the game, he don't really care. He don't really felt anything. And then for Final Fantasy XIV, he actually felt the same. Let's just say Samurai get potency buff, right? It doesn't really affect him because it's not like he changed his playstyle. He's pressing the same buttons anyway. He didn't really care. If it's not rotational changes, he doesn't really felt like the need to like say change things, you know. He's not saying that it's not important that you should buffs and stuff. It's just that, you know, for him individually, he thinks maybe he's not as a good player, so he didn't really feel it. To him, it's not a big deal, you know. After the homogenization, you can say that the job become easier to play, but to him personally, right, the homogenization actually make him feel that he was able to understand and play the game better. Before 4.0, he didn't do any high-end content. He says that he don't think he can play Midas and Creator. He says that it might be way too hard for him. 4.0, he thinks is the turning point of how the game reach a stage where it's more appealing to most people. No, I mean, so obviously some of us will say that 3.0 is better, but he thinks that, you know, 4.0 is the tipping point where the game reached the best balance in terms of gameplay. He only played high-end because Samurai was introduced. Since he started playing 4.0, he started doing high-end content. He was able to do all the Savage, and then he was able to clear 4 ultimates minus TOP right now. Is all because of 4.0. He benefits from the homogenization, he feels. Otherwise, if it's like Creator Midas, he would not be able to do it. He watched Xeno, he agrees with Xeno, but, you know, maybe not a lot of people watch Xeno, so he's gonna explain. The way Xeno says the good and bad thing, maybe people don't like to watch Xeno or him, right? It doesn't matter whether you are saying good or bad things about the game. You know, he still watches. He agrees with Xeno, like, you know, nowadays, right? More mechanics, but DPS is easier to do. But back then, DPS was harder to do, but it's easier mechanic. He thinks, right, the way Final Fantasy XIV introduced changes is too slow. It's not fluent enough. You know how when we play 2.0 to 4.0, actually, that is true. Now that he says it, actually it makes sense. A lot of you don't play from 2.0 to 4.0. But for those of you that already play from 2.0 onwards, you will notice the change. Like, you will notice how the game from 2.0 into 3.0, and then from 3.0 into 4.0, these 3 expansion, right, or these 3 major patch, right, you notice that it changes. You notice that it went from introduction, not a lot of skills, we are new to the game, and then suddenly, bam, you got way too fucking much. Mechanics are not that difficult, but DPS checks are tight. Also, partly because it was hard to do damage. And then suddenly, they noticed that was too difficult. They go into 4.0, they homogenize a little. But with that, they implemented more mechanics. So they give you more mechanics. They make rotation easier, but somewhat still balanced. Was good. But then from 4.0 to 6.0, there was not enough changes like that, where it becomes too boring. And then suddenly in 5.0, become 2 minutes meta. You compare 2 to 4.0, the changes, the fluency, how the game changes and make you feel that the game is progressing or getting better. And then somehow from 4.0 to 6.0, you did not feel the game become better because the changes, there was no change. They just make it way too simple. There was no change. You know, that's how he feels. Like, from 4.0 to 6.0, he felt like the game should have gone through another revolution. Like how 3.0 to 4.0, 2.0 to 3.0, you know, 2 to 3, there was a revolution. 3 to 4, there was a revolution. But somehow from 4 to 6, there wasn't a revolution. That's why the game felt stagnant. Maybe you should revolutionize the gameplay to make it more fun. And he emphasized, he wants the game to be more fun, not bringing back 3.0. Bringing back 3.0 is not a solution. A lot of you guys never even played 2.0, 3.0. You guys don't understand. 2.0, 3.0 is a dark history. You guys don't know. You guys think you know. You guys think you won. But the reality is this game cannot go back to 3.0. It's a dark moment. So he agreed with the viewers. Despite that being said, 6.x series, the job should have changed. You look at the 6.x model, it's way too long already. Basically, the 6.x model started from 5.0. So you got 2 expansions that your job played like the same. And in some cases, worse. Summoner, Gunbreaker, Paladin. You go from 2.0, 3.0, there was a good change or bad change. 3 to 4, there was a change, good or bad. 4 to 5, there was a change, good or bad. 5 to 6, nothing. So he personally, as a player, he agreed that in 6.0, it becomes too stagnant already. You can't just say like homogenization or balance is what they should be focusing on this game. This game is not a try-hard game. This game is not a min-max game. Now, that is true. That's why I always say, right? People who min-max this game, I wouldn't say it's bad, but sometimes I felt bad for you guys, really. Right? Out of all the other games that I ever played, right? This game has the least try-hard factor. Fucking Lost Ark got more try-hard factor. That goes into your honing, your engravings, your stats, your quality of your accessories. You know what I mean? For Warcraft, PI, you get your buff. You play the meta class, you pad the ads. Like other games that is min-max value. Final Fantasy XIV is not really made for min-maxing. This game is meant for you to just play generically, get the job done. It's fun, it's kind of balanced, everybody's happy. This game is not made to min-max. I think he's referring to the Link's video. He says that recently he's been watching some videos, he's been watching some streams. There is a few shit talking about the game that he does not understand. For example, when you say Final Fantasy only got Dynamo Chariot, you can't just say that Final Fantasy XIV is just a game where you do Dynamo Chariot, stack or spread. This game is not like that. You cannot just base this game and its content just because you watch a guide. Because you watch a guide, because you understand mechanic, you think that this game is only this and that, stand still and resolve. No, this game is not like that. Now, if you see all your guide, you memorize all your guide, all the good strat are being made, then yes, the game does seems like it's only got Dynamo Chariot, stack and spread. For sure. But the most fun thing about this game content is solving mechanics. Solving the mechanic, whether it is Dynamo Chariot, whether it's stack or spread, solving the thing is the fun part. But not everybody can experience that, obviously. Not everybody will feel that. He himself is not someone that blind proc. So for his POV as a player, right, when he got the strat and he execute, he does agree that it's still Dynamo Chariot, it's still stack and spread, but he feel like this game mechanic is designed in a way where even for his situation where he's not blind progging or solving mechanic himself, he still thinks that the game is alright. It's not that bad. It's not that boring. Okay, I think he's talking about frontline. One thing that can improve, you should make a couple more maps. Put in more development time into like making the maps. It's going to be beneficial to the people that play frontline. He thinks that, like he said earlier, right, this game is not min-maxing. So like frontline, right, actually suits Final Fantasy XIV community perfectly. Because it's not try-hard. It's not like 5v5 Crystalline Conflict that, you know, you have to play at your best. When you go to frontline, it's just for fun, right? You know, people just want to do for the rewards, right? When you play 5v5, if one of you play like shit, it's obvious. He thinks that, you know, as a Final Fantasy generic player, when you play frontline, you just stand down there, you walk around, you pretend to be involved, it's still fine, you know? But in 5v5 Crystalline Conflict, you cannot fuck around. 72-man PvP is fun, right? You see so many people around, right? It's fun, right? When you play frontline, it's more relaxing, it's more casual. You see a lot of people, you feel good. Like if it was given to him, if he's the producer, but obviously he's not, you know, he will focus more on frontline. He would rather do balancing based on frontline and not based on 5v5. Because like in 5v5, the try-hard factor will be the cutting edge. Whereas like in frontline, it's more casual, right? People need to have more fun, right? You know, all this balance that Yoshi P done for Crystalline Conflict kind of affect the way you play frontline. Nah, I don't play frontline, so I'm not sure. He thinks that 5v5 is great. Now that you already revamped your 5v5, yeah, let's leave it as it is, right? But for balance, right, you should balance via frontline, more large-scale people. You know, he himself also play 5v5. He also do Crystalline Conflict, but it's not something that the try-hard is not something that people really want. He says, about to say something that maybe you guys will shit on me. I personally don't think Island Sanctuary is that bad. Okay, the reason why he thinks Island Sanctuary is not bad is because he himself did not set any expectation about this content. He doesn't give a shit. He go into Island Sanctuary with zero expectation or very low expectation. So when he go in and do it, he's like, okay, this is not bad. Like for him, right, he don't give a shit about this content. His expectation for this content is very low. He only think about, you know, let me log in and go in and press some random fucking button. He don't really care. When he go and play Island Sanctuary and when he go gather, he only go and gather the shitty items at the beginning. He didn't really go and gather like the try-hard stuff. He didn't open a spreadsheet and stuff. He just log in. When he's got nothing to do, he just clicks some random tree sap and stuff. You know, he don't really care about it. He says that however, he thinks that the UI is garbage. So, you know, when Yoshi P first make this content, right? Yoshi P said before, Island Sanctuary is not going to be as in-depth like Animal Crossing. And then he himself was saying that, you know what was his biggest fear in Island Sanctuary? He was most afraid that tools have durability. That would have made him puke. He says that there's no point making new race. Obviously, finish out Profgar female and call it a day. Like, rather making new race, spend more effort into making more facial stuff, like, you know, your face shape. And then he's like, bro, it's already been 10 years. Our superficial should look better already. Like your facial feature, you know, your eye, your nose, your mouth, your ear, your face shape, all these needs to have more updates. For example, the eyes, you know, why don't you have like eyes like that? You know, with those stuff implemented in, you know, you will sell a lot of Fantasia, right? He never understood why are there some weird face paint. He feels that there's too little cosmetics right now. Glamour, too little uniforms, too little sets. Make more cosmetics is better for the game. He also talked to Yoshi P about like, you don't have to make a whole set. If you think that making a set is gonna use a lot of development time, which is why there is so little glamour being introduced, then maybe don't make a full set. Just make pieces. Like if you think that, you know, let's just say for example, right, like this set, right, this top, right, if you think that making the whole set, I mean, I know like in terms of culture, the whole set must be out together. But let's just say if stuff like that, you think there's too much development time, you can just make one piece. Like let's just say today you implement shoe that is not like fitting, it's not like matching. It doesn't matter how much you sell it, it's gonna fucking sell. Even if it's just a single shoe or single pants, it doesn't need to be a full price, $12, $18. If you put one piece and you put it like say $5, it will sell out.
单的裤子的丝袜绝对卖爆。
Okay, if you sell stockings, sell out day one. Definitely make a bang there. I agree. If they put stockings in there, I'm buying. So he's like saying, you know, in the box station right now, they usually update every few months, and then every few months they put out 3 to 4 or 5 items to buy. He don't think that is smart. He feels that you should 1 month put out 1 set, or every 1 month put out multiple pieces. You don't one shot 2 to 3 months put out 5 items. People are not gonna suddenly have $200. Now there are people that fork out $200 one shot, buy every item, yes. But if you spread it out nicely, if you do single item, you will actually make more money, you know? Okay, yeah. I was waiting for him to say this because I think this also tied to the glamour. You know, when Final Fantasy XIV create modes, right? And when Final Fantasy XIV create glamour, right? They have a few things they have to fulfill. It needs to be sell in all regions. Like for example, if they put out a Japanese outfit, that thing also need to sell in NA. If they do an emote specifically for this region, this emote, the context, the cultural usage of the emote also needs to suit the other region. They cannot just say, we make one from China and then we make one for Japan. Right now, right, the way they do it, right, is one emote, one glamour, it needs to fit all culture, all region. But then he was also saying that, let's just say if something works in China or something works in overseas, then you should just let them have it. You shouldn't be like, oh, because it doesn't work in this region and therefore this thing don't sell, right? If this thing don't sell, don't work in other region, then don't release in that region. If this work in NA, don't work in JP, just release in NA. That right now, he feels that is kind of hindering the development. Now, I'm not sure whether this is true because I thought Korean have their own glamour. For China, Eosia Cafe, obviously he's the one in charge that set it up, right? For him, right, the first principle is the food must be nice because he himself went to a lot of collaboration. Sometimes you have this collaboration food, they are usually dog shit, you know? Every food in the Eosia Cafe in China is top notch. Okay. I'm curious. Next year when I go, I'll see. There are some people, there are some players, some community that's like doing, you know, FF14 only community event. And then he actually, with the help of the Eosia Cafe, you know, the funds, he actually would support this community or this content creator. He himself would use the money that they earn from the Eosia Cafe and book a floor and organize event for them. He thinks that 3.5 month patch was okay. Now 4.5 month patch is a problem. They are the distributor, right? At the end of the day, yes, he's the producer of Final Fantasy XIV China, but he's also a distributor, you know? You give us the product, we distribute. Even for him as a distributor, he thinks that 4 months is too long. 4.5 months per patch is too long. If you want to make 4.5 months, then you make more content, make more fun content. Now, this one, right? I think I talked about it yesterday. You guys remember at some point in Shadowbringer, you guys remember when Yoshi P says we're gonna extend the patch cycle by 2 weeks? Instead of 3.5, they're gonna do 4 months. And then we were all like, bro, you are already removing more dungeon. You are already cutting out so much content and you still more time. And then Yoshi P says that with the additional time and with one less dungeon, we will make more content. You remember that? And then we were all here very skeptical about it, right? We were all here be like, okay, I mean, if you do say that you will put more content, sure. At the very next patch after that, he put out this EX trial together with this. The patch right after he says the delay, we get 2 EX trial. So during that time, our mind were blown. Hell yeah! You take out one dungeon, You add on 2 more weeks. You said you will put in more content and you did. What happened since? Borgia did give us a dungeon that is like 48 man. Then Borgia made another one at the end. Fine, sure. What happened then? Where is our Borgia now? Where is our relic quest? What the fuck happened to our 24 man? What the fuck happened to our EX trial? At least I think Barbarisha and Baldi Kante, I think is at least okay. Gobes is great. What the fuck happened to Zero Months? And I'm not sure whether you guys noticed. He said that the patch is 3.5 to 4 months. Have you guys recently noticed that the patch is now 4.5 months and not 4 months anymore? He said it's only going to be 2 weeks. He said that it's going to be 3.5 into 4. Recently, did you guys notice it's been 4 months 1 week, 4 months 2 weeks now? Did you guys notice that? They actually extended more than they said they would. And we are getting lesser content. And then in the China producer words, we are also getting less fun content. We are still getting quality content. I think Zero Months is still perfectly done. Aesthetic, great. The arena, awesome. The mechanic looks good, music top notch, but is it more fun? The 24 man, they introduced their original story, their own story, Final Fantasy XIV Origin. They put back the gods, Nautical hits top notch, the waifus in there awesome, music cool. Aesthetics great. Arena nice to look at. But is it fun? That last boss 24 man, the 12, is that fun? You compare that to Ultima, the High Seraph. You compare that to Diablo, even Nia, the girl in red. Did you guys really think that this Endwalker 24 man was fun? So like for him, right, he actually knows a lot of all this stuff. Don't think that he doesn't know all this problem, all this stuff. I mean, it makes sense, right? This whole video until now, he has speaked up even himself as a player, not as the producer, or even as a producer and as a player. I think there's a lot of good points he put out. There's a lot of things that he agrees with the players. There's a lot of things that he also thinks that is bad, is shit. He's not afraid to say it. Don't for once think that he don't understand all this. He has spies. He has spies in PvP. He has spies in endgame. He has spies in casual. So sometimes he will get feedback from these spies. When he get his spies to tap into the community, like in their static or their viewers, the common feedback is they really want to play 14. They really want to play 14. They love Final Fantasy 14. But here's the but. It's not like they don't like your game, you know, they love the game. Right? These are the feedback that his spies collected, okay? He's super emphasizing, right? All these spies, the most common feedback is they really want to play the game. They really want to spend money in the game. It's not like they hate the game. When they shit talk the game, it's not because they hate it. They want the game to be better. They love this game so much. But your patch is so long, they have nothing fucking to do. In the last 1 month especially. They have nothing to do. They cannot play the game. They want to, but there's nothing to do. He agreed with that. He's like, luckily in China, they pay by playtime. Like for us, right, we pay by sub. Every month we pay $12.99. Some of you guys pay more than $12.99. Do you guys know that in China, you only buy the retainer once and you keep the retainer forever? So let's just say you want 5 more retainer. You pay 5 more bucks. You only pay 5 more bucks. For the remaining time of your game time, you get permanently that 5 retainer. Number 2, they pay by minutes. You play 10 minutes, you pay X amount. This month, you play 2 hours, you pay 2 hours. You don't pay flat $12.99. Let's just say, for example, if they only log in to do Halloween event, they only pay $1 to play Final Fantasy XIV that 1 month. And also, they don't have to buy the game. All their expansions are free. They are only 1 patch behind us. Right now, they are in 6.4. They get everything for free. For the state of the game right now, he's so glad that he implemented and he pushed for pay per minute. Because right now, right, even though you have nothing to do, thankfully, let's just say in the last 1 month when you got nothing to do, at least you log in just to chit chat with your friend. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't cost you $12.99. You know, it only maybe cost you 50 cents. Today, you want to log in just to ERP, that's 50 cents. You don't have to pay $12.99 just to ERP 2 days. Like, you know, even if I just log in at the tail end of the patch just to chit chat, I still have to play something, you know? There still needs to be content to do as well, right? Now he's addressing the China fans, right? The viewers, right? The players, right? He's like, now you guys think about it. With this current situation, isn't the pay to play model awesome? Have you guys ever thought about this, you know? Like Square Enix has been hinting him, can you remove the pay to play? Can you just go back into monthly stuff? Square Enix has been pushing him to abandon that model, you know? But he is the one that says no. He wants to keep this model for the China players. He guarantees you that as long as he's the producer of 14, there will not be a day that the pay to play model will be gone. Guys, this is the producer of the Final Fantasy XIV for the Giga Chat. Listening to him brings me hope that this game can be better.